There's the plane, or there's a plane. Hi! This is part 2 of my second video today. Because the one I was just doing messed up again. Surprise! Shocker, I know. Whatever. In that one, I was saying that I heard a plane, but I didn't see one. This time, I'm seeing a plane, but I don't hear it. It's like a vice versa situation. Spooky, also spooky. So many spooky things going on over here. One of which I was just talking about in that other video that I was just doing that's less than 10 minutes long because it messed up, which is also weird. No, that's not weird. That's not weird at all. That always happens. That's one thing that isn't weird. Okay, so thumbnail. Ding. What do people do when they're like, no, what's that thing when they're like, but with the pen, Okay, let's get back into this stupid shit. All right, I was just trying to say, I found the cap to my frickin' pen, okay? I was just saying that. Why is this weird? Why am I so weird? That, I don't know. So, okay, let me focus. Let me just reconnect my own brain right now as best I can, my thought processes. All right, quick recap. Get it? Recap? Okay, quick recap. Oh boy, all right. Monday night, my favorite manager's last shift. That being the case, I was going around the club here, the strip club that I work at. I was having people sign a card for him. In that process, I was, I guess, using my favorite pen. In that process, I, boo-hoo, lost the cap. I don't know where it went. I was sad. This is my favorite pen because of this special cap that I put a sticker on. I lost it that night. No cap on the pen after that for a little while. And look, I found it. Here it is. I have it now, obviously. Ta-da, here it is. I found it yesterday. It was weird that I found it yesterday. You know why? I found it. Okay, so Monday night, I got some injuries. 5 total, to be exact, or pretty much. Out of those 5, 2 of them, my right wrist, my right ankle, that was Monday. Today's Wednesday. Yesterday was Tuesday. Tuesday, I re-injured my right wrist and my right ankle yet again. The way that I re-injured my right wrist and my right ankle yesterday on Tuesday was because right near the DJ booth, I tripped over a pen. Not this pen, but a different pen. That pen did not have a cap on it. And also that earlier that day, I was talking about how my special pen here did not have a cap on it. Do you see where I'm going with this? Both pens did not have a cap on them. Do you see the coincidence? No, wait, it's too weird to be a coincidence. How does that happen? A little ironic maybe, or someone's doing something, you guys, and it ain't me. So how does that happen to where both pens don't have a cap? I was talking right before that happened. That happened Tuesday night, yesterday, last night, earlier on Tuesday. I did 2 videos yesterday. In at least one of those videos, I had been talking about this pen, how I had lost the cap. Therefore, it was a capless pen. What did I trip over shortly after that at the club? A capless pen. Again, not this one, a different pen, but still, it was capless, just like this one was at that time. And I had been talking about it and referencing it. Okay? So that was a little weird to me, a little suspicious, a little sus, okay? Now, also after that, right directly after that, I kid you not, Sure, we'll leave it there. Okay. Accessory. Oh, an accessory. I added a scarf for this video to spruce things up a little bit. Or try to. Directly after that happened, okay? I walk into one of the dressing rooms. I had just tripped and fallen over that other capless pen. People had seen me do it. They saw me trip and fall. Also, the DJ saw me trip and fall. The female DJ, who I'm pretty sure was the one that dropped that pen, considering that pen that I tripped on was literally directly outside of the DJ booth, like 1 foot away from the entrance to the DJ booth. She was standing right there. Pretty sure she did it. Or she dropped the pen. I tripped on it. It was a combination of factors, but mostly her fault, okay? So I think. I'm guessing, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, after that happens, directly after that, I keep walking straight towards the bathroom, dressing room area to take a little break, right? To try to regroup, to try to gather myself a little bit better. I needed to sit down, okay? So I had just fallen down. I wanted to go sit down after that and assess myself, assess my injuries. So I did that. That's when I found the cap to this pen. That was when this happened. That's when I found it. In that same room that I just went into, that I walked into, in that particular exact room, that dressing room, that bathroom. That's where I found this pen. Directly after the cap. No, that's where I found the cap to this pen. Directly after I had tripped over the other capless pen. Do you see where I'm trying to go with this? Do you see what I'm trying to say? This can't be coincidence. Okay? That's the point I was trying to make there. Now, on to my next topic. Also in one of the videos that I did yesterday, I was talking about how my favorite manager was also someone that seemed to drop things a lot. Any of which I could have also tripped and fallen over. But I didn't with those things. I found them though. In the video that I was talking about that with yesterday, I mentioned 3 specific items that he had dropped and almost kind of lost in the club, or they could have been lost had I not found them. I forgot one of them. There's actually 4. There's actually 4 examples that I can give of that. And I just want to recap and say that right now. Okay, just to do it. So yesterday, in one of the 2 videos that I did yesterday, I was saying how he had dropped and left behind, kind of almost lost, 3 items which I found. I had mentioned him dropping his phone, his keys, and earbuds. 3 things. The 4th thing, there's a 4th thing that I can remember where this happened. He also had dropped a lighter one time. And it wasn't like a brightly colored Bic lighter. It was like a specialty kind of little dark, like kind of black colored lighter. It was smaller than a regular Bic lighter, and it was like a dark gray black color. AKA, it was very difficult to see in the club. It did not stand out. It blended, because it was so darkly colored, it blended right in with the carpets and most of the rest of the dark background lighting in the club. I don't know how I somehow was able to see it on the floor rather than not seeing it and tripping and falling over it. Like the pen. Not this pen, the other pen. Okay, so the lighter in particular, I'm pretty sure that was on the stairs as well. This was also, I'm pretty sure, back when I used to be wearing my 8-inch heels. So these days, because I'm just in pretty bad shape these days, getting worse by the day, pretty much. Worse by the moment. Not by the moment necessarily, but by the day, yeah, pretty much. So I used to be able to wear 8-inch heels not that long ago, like last year, really. These days I wear 7s because that 1 inch does really make that huge of a difference to me. 8-inch heels is usually, for the most part, just too much of a risk and too difficult and too dangerous for me with how bad I'm feeling these days. However, again, that wasn't the case last year. So last year I used to wear 8-inch heels a lot. And for most of the shifts that I was doing with my favorite manager. So when I found that lighter that he had dropped on the floor, it wasn't just on the floor, it was on the stairs. Towards the bottom of one of the staircases, not like towards the top, but it's still on the stairs. And I was still wearing my 8-inch heels, and it was still a darkly colored little small size lighter that was very, very difficult to see. And to this day, I had completely forgotten about this until it came back to me like last night, I guess, or whenever it did recently. But to this day, I don't know how I was able to see that on the carpet where it just completely blended in. It was very difficult to see. It did not stand out whatsoever. It blended right in. So, but somehow I saw it that time. How and why I didn't see the pen, I don't understand, because the pen does not the pen that I tripped on does not blend in with the carpets. That pen was actually also a blue pen. It wasn't the black pen, it was a blue pen. And no, I don't need an ambulance. It wasn't that bad. Go away. Didn't we already just hear one of those like minutes ago? Jesus, what's going on? Yeah, somehow I saw that lighter back then, and somehow I didn't see the blue pen last night. It was a pen, like, wait, I think it was this is what I tripped on. Not this particular exact pen, but this same style. So this stands out on the carpets. This is not difficult to see, or it shouldn't be. Jeez. So it's just another thing that really makes no sense to me, but just another fun little detail I thought I would include in this round of video today. If I don't take this out of my mop hat right now, I will just probably forget that it's there and then lose the entire pen. I don't want to, I've already lost the cap, and I was lucky enough, well, lucky, I guess, weird little coincidence that I was able to find the pen at the exact time and moment that I did last night. But I don't want to lose the whole pen now. Of course, you know, of course I don't want that to happen. So it's my favorite pen with my favorite cap. I mean, I could just put the cap on a different pen now that I have the cap back, but I don't, again, I couldn't do that if I lost the whole thing, if I lost the cap again and the entire pen, and just, I should take it out, but I want to leave it in there because I think it's funny. It's not that funny, but it is to me. So listen, the next part, my next subject. So I started this video at 4:30. Oh God, I have one viewer. I shouldn't have checked that. That brings it right down so fast. What's that song from Sesame Street where it's like 1 is the loneliest number? 1 is just the worst number. 1 is just... But the pen, it's like a pen. The pen is shaped like a number 1. I'll try to make myself like the number 1 somehow. How can I fix this for myself? There's usually ways that I can come up with stuff. I can be pretty clever when it comes to coming up with stuff sometimes. Not always, and not as often as I wish I could be able to do it, but sometimes if I try hard enough, I can come up with some stuff to help with things. So how can I get myself to not despise the number 1 as much as I do? What's good about the number 1? What's good about it? Let's think. I'll have to get back to this some other time because I can't do it right now. If I hate the number 1 more than not more than anything, but a lot. Yeah, I hate it a lot. I messed with through numbers so much. I messed with in so many ways. But if I had to make a list of the ways that I feel like I'm messed with the most, technology and numbers would definitely both be way towards the top of that list. Definitely. Hard, solid fact. There's many, many other ways too, like I said, but those just instantly come right to my brain first and foremost. First and foremost, and second too, first and second, and they're both right there. They're pretty much tied. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. Anyways, they're both right at the top. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna try to keep this video short because this is technically my 3rd video today. So yeah, anyway, but it's still light outside. It's still a clear blue sky, and the subject that I wanted to get into for this video, okay, so I was talking in the first video that I did today, earlier today, I think I mentioned briefly. So also right around the time that I had tripped and fallen on the other pen that I was talking about at the club, the pen that I tripped and fell over, that was right around the same time. It was also weird timing. Again, it was weird timing because I found the cap to this pen right after that happened, but it was also weird timing because right before that happened, there was a dancer on stage that I hadn't seen in many, many years. And I don't know, seeing her again, she's just somebody that always stands out to me, like in my mind, like her personality. Even though I hadn't seen her for years until last night, back when I used to see her here at the club, we would talk pretty often, and her personality is a personality that I really feel like I click with, and that I really feel that I relate to and resonate with and just like vibe with. She is, out of all the strippers that I've met here at the club that I work at, she's probably the one that reminds me most of myself, that I feel the most similar to, and that I feel is the most similar to me, like personality wise. Because like, you know, like here on my channel with my videos, I'm way too honest, obviously, way too open, just about about a lot of stuff, obviously, but especially about how much I struggle as a stripper, how much I struggle with the whole concept of it, how much I struggle on a personal level, how I am basically a terrible stripper, how, you know, like, I'm just very open and honest about how I actually feel about it. And in a way, I want to like think and feel like I'm so original for that. I've never seen anything else like that on YouTube, but that definitely doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Like, just because I haven't seen that anywhere else doesn't mean that it's not a thing anywhere else, obviously. Like, but I'm pretty sure even if it does technically exist somewhere, on YouTube or otherwise, like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem that common. Most of the other types of videos that I have seen on YouTube, like from other strippers or about other strippers, they seem to be like the types of strippers that are really hot and sexy and that do really well and just like, I don't know, just got it going on. You know what I mean? Like, or you know what I mean? Whereas for me, I suck at this. I suck at everything pretty much. Just not in the right way, or just not in the way that society wants me to, or yeah. I complain a lot about it. I'm pretty honest about it, like way too honest, and I'm just a dork. I'm just, you know, I don't ever feel hot or sexy. I just struggle. And yeah, I don't try to hide it. So there's a couple other dancers that I'm kind of like somewhat close with here at the club. So this dancer that I'm referring to that I just saw last night for the first time in years, her number is in my phone. She still has the same number that she used to have. Her number's been in my phone for quite a while. And I guess I technically have other dancers' names and numbers in my phone as well, but the main two that come to mind that I know that I've actually like corresponded with or like texted recently or on a somewhat regular basis, the Taz and Paris. So Paris, I think, also maybe struggles with being a stripper possibly, although to me, she doesn't seem to be quite as vocal about it. I couldn't really say for sure with her. I think, I don't know, like she does seem to struggle kind of more similarly to how I do. But I also think similar to me, like she just maybe struggles in general in other ways too, just like in life, like a lot of people do. But like she'll kind of be honest about it with me, like, and we'll just kind of talk a little bit about stuff and our struggles and have like kind of heart to heart conversations. But not she tries to be very positive, it seems like, and she is very positive. And I'm the same way, but it's hard to explain. I don't really see Paris that much. And when we do, we don't really seem to talk, like have time to talk as much as we used to. I just don't see her that much. But when I do, she's just like, even though I think she does also struggle, she's always somehow so positive. Like she always just has the most positive, lighthearted personality, to where I wish I did see her more often, because anytime that I see her or do interact with her, her energy and her vibe and her personality just really lifts me up and just brings me so much joy. Like she's just a really, really kind, positive person somehow, some way, because I know that she's been through a lot. And then Taz, Taz, I vibe with. I feel like I love Taz so much. I love her vibe so much. Taz is the same way, where anytime I'm around her, I just feel really good usually, like, because she has such a great personality and great vibes, to where I just feel better. I feel like I'm in a better mood around her. But with that being said, it's a little more difficult for me to relate to her, or like I definitely relate to her in a lot of ways as far as how our personalities are. But with her, she's just like so physically perfect, or her personality, like she's just perfect pretty much all around. Like she's got it going on. And she's like the perfect quintessential stereotype that like every guy, even every female probably, every teenage boy, anyone that thinks of like the perfect looking stripper, like textbook out of a movie, like that's when they picture what that might look like in their minds. I feel like that's pretty much what she looks like and how she is. And then she also has like an amazing personality to go with it as well. Like very, I don't know, just, but sometimes it's a little more difficult. I don't know, sometimes it is difficult for me being around her, just because she does seem so perfect, and I'm like so opposite of perfect, and I'm such a mess, I feel like. So, it's a little harder on my self-esteem sometimes. And, because Taz is pretty much so perfect, she does do really well here at the club. Like, she's got it going on, and she knows that she's got it going on. Like, she also has the confidence that comes with having it going on like that. So, she just does really well. She's proud of that, and she should be, and that's awesome. And I'm really happy for her with that. But of course, it's hard also not to be like a little bit jealous, just human nature. And the jealousy that I would have with that, it's not like an angry kind of like resentful, like hateful kind of jealousy that's often depicted like in the media. It's more of just like me being kind of just feeling down about myself, more down about myself. You know what I mean? Like, I still really am happy for her, and it's great to have her here at the club. But yeah, my self-esteem and my confidence is already so low that if I try not to compare myself to her, because they do say like, comparison is the thief of joy or whatever, like, it's just not healthy to do that. But again, it's more like human nature. Sometimes I just can't help it, where looking at her and being around her, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so perfect. And then there's me that's just such a mess, and I struggle so much. So yeah, it is kind of hard sometimes. And it's more so like whatever little feelings of jealousy, it's more just like, yeah, me being down on myself and just kind of woe is me and sad for myself. I try not to be, too, with that, but I think it's just human nature. I think it's pretty natural to feel that way. Like, being how I am and coming where I'm coming from, you know? But so anyways, this not new, but this dancer that I saw for the first time in a while last night that I hadn't seen in years up until last night, she is like me but like she also definitely seems to struggle like I do. But she, unlike Paris, she doesn't really try to be all that positive. Like, she's just straight up about it. Like, she will come right out and say it the exact honest way that it is for her, no matter how bad it sounds. And she just doesn't care about trying to come across better than she is or better than how she really feels, or I don't know. I can really respect that, because other than myself, I don't really know that many other dancers here that well, so I can't really say for sure that it doesn't happen, but just from what I've experienced, I don't really hear other dancers being that open or that honest about struggling so much. Like I'm like that way here on my YouTube, but you know, online on YouTube is one thing, in person is another. Like when I saw her last night, for example, again, I hadn't seen her in years until last night, and immediately when we started talking, she just started telling me about her current situation and like where she's been at, like where she's at right now, why she's back at the club, you know, currently. She was like, yeah, you know, like I lost my license and I'm not able to drive, and I'm sleeping on my dad's couch, like right outside his kitchen. And she was like, she's like, yeah, I've been unemployed for a while. She's like, I can't, she's like, I'm staying with my dad and his like new wife or ex-wife or whatever it was, like not her mom, basically. I meant to ask her about her mom in that conversation, but I just forgot. But we were talking for a while. We ended up talking for like over an hour, I think. And she just, you know, she was just so honest and straight up about like, this is my situation. It frickin' sucks. And she doesn't try to like downplay that or apologize for that or make it sound better than it is. And again, I can really respect that. And I don't want to go to that saying where it's like misery loves company. And I even said to her, I was like, I'm not happy to hear that she's struggling, but it does make me feel a little less alone. So again, it's not that I'm happy that she's like going through a tough time, but in a way, in a selfish way, it does kind of make me feel a little bit better about my own struggles. Like, does that make sense? It's not that misery, I don't want to say misery loves company, but I guess it kind of does, like in a way, just to see, to hear that, okay, like there's like, she's just so much like me. Like I feel like the way that she's talking, like, you know, we did end up talking for, like, she's just that kind of stripper where like me, she'll be like, yo, this sucks. Like these guys smell bad. Like, you know, these guys are so creepy. Like, you know, she's like, damn, like shit's too expensive, and she'll just tell it like it is, or like it is for her and for like me, like for like people, for strippers and for people that really just are going through it and that struggle. And but yeah, so we were talking for a long time, or we ended up talking for over an hour. And I did end up telling her about my YouTube, and actually I asked her if she would ever want to come on with me sometime, and she said yes. I told her how I had done videos and like interview style videos with Taz in Paris, and I was like mentioning the dressing room where we did those videos from, which was right next to the room that we were in having this conversation. And I was like, yeah, if you ever might want to come on with me sometime, like maybe we could do that kind of video together. And she said that she would probably want to and be interested. So I was like, yes, like that's so, because I think that could be a good time, because again, her personality is just, and like with her, even though she like is so brutally honest about how she really thinks and feels about stuff, like with her struggles and And even though she doesn't really try to be positive that much with it, she's still, the way that she's so open and honest, she still comes across as being very like funny. Like her personality, even though she's being so honest about tough subjects and tough stuff, the way she says it and the way it comes across, again, with her personality, it doesn't come across as that much of a downer or like negative or like woe is me. There's something about her personality where she can say this stuff and it still sounds like just relatable and just funny. And I just, I just really feel like I relate to her a lot. And we were talking in the conversation that we ended up having, which was pretty long. We were talking about a lot of other stuff that we struggle with too. Like, she's also like me in how she was saying how her weight goes up and down, which that's been a big struggle for me most of my adult life, ever since puberty, really. And we were both kind of started talking about how we don't like to eat in public because it feels awkward and just uncomfortable to us. But when we're alone in private, we can eat a lot at a time. So, and we were saying how like we love it when it's just like us and the food, like, it's like a personal, private, like love affair, like when we're alone with our food. And I've never really heard anyone else say that, like, especially in person like that. Like, everyone else that I know just seems so normal. Everyone else that I know here at the club, even though there's so many other strippers here at the club that are like getting naked and showing their bodies, and some of which also have cellulite, maybe not as badly as I do, but like none of the other strippers here that I've met really seem to care. Like, they're just like normal people that like will order food here and eat in front of each other and just go out, like post stuff on Facebook. Like, they just seem normal, like surprisingly normal. You know what I mean? Like, everyone else that I know and that I've met, like, they just go out places, they go out to eat, to restaurants, they eat in front of each other and just do it normally. Whereas with her and I, we're both like talking about how we really don't feel able to do that kind of stuff very much. Like, we don't like to do that kind of stuff. Like, she doesn't really post on social media that much. Like, she's on my Facebook, or I know that she was. I haven't been on Facebook in a while, but whenever I would see her post on Facebook, it wasn't very often, but when I did see her post on there, it wasn't like normal kind of posts that most people would post, like with their friends, tagging other people. She would post like almost like emo, like alternative, like just kind of random, bizarre, like kind of bullshit, like whatever kind of stuff. Like, I don't, it's hard to explain, but just not the typical kind of stuff that you would see from most people. We were also talking about how, like, I've talked on my channel before about how I suspect that I probably have undiagnosed autism, or like I definitely struggle with my mental health for sure, obviously, like clearly. And she was saying the same thing basically, like she thinks that she probably has autism as well, just undiagnosed. And she definitely like seems like she also struggles with her mental health. So yeah, I relate to her on many levels. And with me having not seen her for a couple years up until last night, there were a lot of times that she did cross my mind, and I did want to try to reach out to her and text her to see how she was doing. And the main reason that I didn't do that is because even though I've had her number in my phone for a while, whenever I would text her in the past, she would very rarely text me back. And sometimes she would, but I feel like the majority of the time she wouldn't. And I actually had addressed that with her one time and like brought it up. And she was just honest, and she told me that it was because of her mental health. Like, she she was somebody that didn't really go on her phone, and she didn't really like to go on her phone, and she would oftentimes go for long periods of time without checking her phone or being on her phone or really bothering with it, which I can also understand and relate to. So when she explained that to me that way, it's just like, oh, okay, I get it. And again, I can really relate to that. So with that being the case, I was kind of torn though, like having not seen her or heard from her for a while, I was like, maybe I should try to reach out just in case, but again, I would just think back to what she said and like just me trying to do that in the past, and most of the time she wouldn't get back to me, she wouldn't text me back. So, and I'm pretty much always very busy, and I have lots of stuff that I'm pretty much always trying to do and take care of. So again, I wanted to, but it just didn't seem to really make sense for me to do that. But I do remember towards the end of the time that we were talking in that dressing room, the thought eventually came to me where, because the conversations that we were having, like it felt like we were reconnecting and relating on so many levels, I started to think, and I even said to her, I was like, you know what? Because at this point I had already told her about my YouTube, and I was like, do you know what? I was like, this entire conversation, I was like, I wish I had gotten this as a video on my YouTube. Like, I wish I had pushed record at the start of this conversation, and that everything that we just said and that everything that we were just talking about could be in a YouTube video. And yeah, I do. I think that would have been, because, I feel like usually the stuff that I talk about here in my YouTube, I never really know if anyone out there actually like gets what I'm trying to say or understands what I'm trying to say or can relate on any level, because I really don't get that many comments in the comments section. And even when I do occasionally get comments here and there, I appreciate them, like especially the ones that are like nice. I do get some nice comments, but they're not necessarily like, saying like, oh, I totally get what you're saying, I'm the same way. They're not really those kind of comments. So even though despite how much I appreciate those nicer comments that I do get from time to time, I still find myself feeling very alone in the way that I think and feel about things. And I still often feel very ostracized and just kind of off by myself, like isolated in the things that I struggle with, and just feel like a really weird, abnormal kind of person. And then talking to her, it's like almost everything that I think and feel, it's like somebody else gets it and feels that same way. So, like we were talking about how we both hate driving, and like all of the distractions and the sounds and the flashing lights and the sensory stuff that they say can oftentimes be related to having like autism or something, like, like stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. But I will say also there was a time in the past where, this was so many years ago. This would have been probably 2019 or 2018. This was a long time ago, but I remember I had given her money. I had also given her a lot of stuff throughout the years, like free stuff, like shoes and clothes, just for free. I'd just given her stuff, because she's also a lot younger than me. So like, especially like when I was first meeting her and getting to know her many, many years ago, and she was kind of still just starting out as a stripper, I would like try to help her out and like just give her stuff. But also I remember one night in particular, I gave her money, like $200, I think it was. And it was this weird thing that we were doing, like, it was like a VIP room where I was actually the one paying for that VIP room. It was like, I don't know, it was like a special thing that I was trying to do, because I've mentioned before, I can be overly generous sometimes with people that I actually do like. Because, it's so rare for me to actually really like people. It's not that rare, but especially like in my real life in person. Like I can like totally like love people like online and in movies and like from afar, but actually personally one-on-one, like in real life, it is pretty rare. I love a lot of people here at the club, but I don't actually know very many of them all that well. But from what I see of them, I really tend to like a lot. But I don't know, I guess because it is rare for me to like really one-on-one really like someone that I've actually gotten to know. Like usually the more I get to know someone, the more difficult it is for me to really like them all that much, because you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, just humans are weird. Humans are difficult for me. So, but it makes it all the more special to me, you know, those people that I do eventually like sometimes find and actually try to get to know a little bit. And once the people that I am able to get to know a bit and actually really do like more as I get to know them, that makes it's all the more special to me when that happens, because it's such a rare thing. So, you know, I guess with that being the case, people that I really do like a lot and that really mean a lot to me and matter to me a lot like that, they really end up meaning a lot to me. Maybe sometimes too much, or I don't know, like I just know in the past, especially, I could be overly generous with people. I don't know, just so anyways, there was this night at the club where I was paying for a VIP room. I charged it like on my credit card. And I brought her, and I brought another dancer, and I brought one of the DJs that was working. So this was one of the DJs that that I've talked a lot about before. Him and I had been working together for very many years. He also was somebody that I think struggled with his mental health and just, you know, had a tough time with a lot of things. And so I don't know, I was just trying to do a nice thing for them. So I brought, you know, like a few people, like them and a couple other people, maybe like up to I think there was one other person. I can't remember who the other person would have been, but yeah, I just brought a group of people up to the VIP and I charged it on my credit card. And I remember the managers were really confused. They were like, no one's ever done this before. And to this day, it's funny because some years later, I think the only dancer that I'm aware of having done that kind of thing before is Taz. I think because Taz does do very well here at the club. So I think Taz also paid for a VIP room herself here. That was also with another employee that used to work here at the club. She had a crush on this employee here, and she brought them into a VIP room, paid for it, and they ended up like engaged for a little while. This was some years ago, but I think that was shortly after I had done that VIP room with this group of people. Anyways, so this other dancer that I'm referring to that I saw last night, she was in, you know, like I just said, she was in that VIP room that I had done and paid for that time that we did that. And so I was basically giving her money, you know, like for her doing that VIP room. She was getting paid from my credit card. And at the end of the night, with it being on a credit card, at the end of the night, there's like this weird process that they have to do in the office to cash out that transaction that was on the credit card. And there was some kind of confusion, some kind of, you know, money dispute with how that happened. And she was very drunk, I'm pretty sure, that night. I think we all were. Or I can honestly say, I don't remember if I was drunk or not. I'm assuming I very well could have been, considering the circumstances and like what I was doing, but I honestly don't remember. But I do remember that I'm pretty sure she was very drunk. So anyways, we're in the office, and I think what had happened is that I don't remember. I just remember, I think what I wanted to have been part of the deal was for some of the cash money that she had gotten at the end of the night, for some of that to come back to me, because I was the one to originally pay for it. So And I wasn't like being bitchy about it or anything. I just was like bringing it up. Like I was just like trying to address that and like mention that to the manager in the office that was cashing us out at the end of the night. And she got very like upset and defensive about it. And she, again, I'm pretty sure she was very drunk though, but she ended up being pretty mean. And she was like, I really don't remember how the conversation went or like what exactly was said, but she ended up saying something along the lines of how like I have no friends, or like nobody had done that room with me because they actually liked me. They just were obviously just doing it for the money like anything else in a strip club. Or she was like, you have no friends, or she said something along those lines. Again, I don't really remember exactly how that went, but it was, I do remember that it was very hurtful and very mean. It came across as very mean and hurtful to me. And obviously I still remember that, but you know, I don't want to hold a grudge about that, or like I forgive her because I appreciate her being so open and honest about, basically I'm chalking it up to her like struggling with her mental health. And I don't want to like be somebody to like use that kind of thing as an excuse for like rude behavior or that kind of thing. But I just, again, I can relate on a personal level, like just struggling with my mental health as well. Like I can just, it's easier, I guess a little easier for me to understand, like, because she's honest about that kind of thing, and because that seems just kind of on the rare side with most society, and especially people in the strip club, like what I'm used to. I appreciate that honesty, and I can respect that, you know what I mean? So if somebody like her says or does something that might come across as a little more on the more rude or hurtful side, as long as it's not like totally extreme. And also with that, it was just words, it wasn't really actions. If somebody like does like takes actual actions that physically or like in a, you know what I mean, like actions that cause me harm, that's more of an issue obviously. But if somebody just like says words that aren't nice, like I don't know, those are just words to me. You know what I mean? Like words can still hurt, but they can only really, I don't know how to put this exactly, but it's not like words have no meaning necessarily, but she said it and it seemed rude, but then those words just kind of floated away into thin air. And no harm, no foul. I was still in one piece. Like we didn't get into a physical altercation. Like she didn't like, you know what I mean, take any actual actions to like really cause me any harm. So I do forgive her for that. It's not a big deal really to me. Obviously, again, I still remember it obviously, but oh well, it's, you know, live and learn. And yeah, I can especially forgive that again because I just really appreciate and respect her honesty about struggling with mental health and just and that kind of thing. So I just kind of slide it into that category of one of those things that just might happen sometimes when people are drunk and upset and also struggling with stuff. So, you know, but yeah, I mean, overall, she seems like a pretty cool person, and I just know that the conversation that we had last night, I just felt so seen and heard for how I feel and am as a person myself. Like, you know, it's just so rare that I really hear people like talking like that and sounding exactly like how I think and feel about things, you know. So yeah, it was really nice to see her again last night. So she did say that she might work again tonight, and I hope that she does. I definitely would like to see her again, and I think it would be pretty cool if we could maybe do a video together, like an interview style video from the club here at some point. But also in the past, kind of her, like with her mental health and maybe being a little wishy-washy with stuff, like I know a lot of times in the past she would say like, oh, she's gonna do this, like she's gonna work this time, and then she sometimes doesn't actually manage to do it. But again, like her circumstances, like it's probably not that easy for her to, even if she wanted to work a certain shift, and even if she was like planning on doing it and saying that she was going to try to do it, like with her circumstances being difficult as they sound and seem to be for her, like that probably factors into, you know, when she's not actually able to follow through and do a shift like she says she might want to be doing or try to do. I don't know, but yeah, a lot of times in the past I would hear her be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna work tomorrow, I'm gonna work this day, and then I just wouldn't see her that day. But again, I can understand that more because, you know, circumstances, and it sounds like her circumstances and situation is on the more difficult kind of side with that kind of thing. So but I also, you know, in talking a little bit about that, you know, as well with the conversation that we were having, I did mention to her how I've had this, you know, thought in my head for a little while now about how I have kind of been entertaining this idea of wanting to maybe try to find a stripper pad, like a house in the area close to the club with maybe a few bedrooms, you know, 3 or 4 bedrooms that a few different dancers could share. So I was like, well, there's a dancer that works here and she's in real estate. So I mentioned the dancer's name to her and asked her if she like knew who I was talking about, and she said that she did. So I was like, yeah, well, you know, if you see that dancer, she's in real estate now, and she might be a good person to talk to as far as trying to, like, you know, find an apartment or a place around here, that kind of thing. Because I guess she was in an apartment with a roommate. Like she said that she's staying with her dad now. But I guess the reason for her being at her dad's right now is because the apartment that she had been in with her previous roommate, I guess her roommate's boyfriend found her, like this person, this dancer that I'm talking about, her roommate's boyfriend found her on an adult website. And I guess the roommate ended up getting, you know, upset about that, and that led to the situation where, you know, this dancer ended up leaving that apartment situation after that altercation. So I don't know. Yeah, it's, I think it would be nice if she could start working here again more often. I don't know, just make it work eventually somehow, hopefully. I hate to say it, but you know, things can be more of a risk for people with mental health struggles, but even with that being the case, like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of people out there that probably have mental health struggles or conditions that they're just not self-aware enough of or honest about, you know what I mean? Like, people like her and people like me, like, at least we're aware enough, like self-aware enough and honest about it. But so that can hurt and that can help. I don't know, that can hurt in a lot of ways, like with society and how society might see us and treat us and view us. But like, I think it can help with people that are like us. It can help people that are like us to feel less alone. And it can help ourselves and talking to other people that are like us with struggles like us, again, to feel less alone and to connect on that level and just to share what we're going through. So it can help. Definitely it can help, I think, in those ways. But yes, it can also hurt as far as like stereotypes and the way that society treats us, looks at us, that kind of thing. But even though society might have the stereotypes and the stigma with that, I just feel like there's got to be so many people out there that just maybe undiagnosed, or they might just not be self-aware enough to realize how crazy they actually are too. Like, to realize like that they might also have a mental health condition, or maybe they are self-aware enough to know about it, but they're just not honest about it. They're just not as open and honest about it as other people might be. It kind of reminds me of that saying where it's like, people that are actually crazy don't know that they're crazy, or like won't admit that they're crazy. Whereas, I don't know, it depends on how you look at it, like a lot of things, I guess. But anyways, I was really happy to see her last night. And yeah, again, that conversation that we had was just, it really, I don't know, it just felt like a nice conversation to me. I felt really good after that conversation, even though it was about like some difficult stuff. Like, again, just to feel seen and heard, and to feel like I was relating to somebody that finally seemed to be more like how I am and how I feel and think and stuff, was just a nice feeling. So anyway, I started this video, I think I started this video at 4:30. It says that it's almost an hour, and it says that I have 2 viewers, so I guess that's better than 1. It's definitely better than 1, but now I'm scared that it's gonna be 1. I can't say that because then it's gonna be 1. I don't want to see the number 1. Yeah, numbers stress me out. Now it's 3. Oh, yay. Okay, I like that. Yeah, part of my mental health struggles is definitely like a thing with numbers and like OCD. Clearly, like, numbers really stress me out. Because there's so many of them and they're everywhere. Oh gosh. Anyways, so this video is almost an hour now. Let me just see. Oh, okay. I want to get it to a full hour, just for kicks, just for that nice round number. There's one other thing that I have written down here that I can mention. That's whatever, but you know. Okay, yeah, and then the other side of this paper is gonna be for next time, I think. So I think if this video posts properly, then I think I have everything on this side of the page that I wanted to talk about covered. Yeah, I think it looks like it. So that means that either tomorrow or within the next couple days, later on, hopefully at some point this week, I will be able to get on to this next side of the paper. And we'll see how long that takes. Yeah. So I don't know. The other little random kind of thing I can mention real quick. So also part of my shift yesterday, there was this couple that came into the club. Oh God. And it was this guy that was very, very in shape. He was very jacked. Not jacked, but he was in shape. He was in good shape, and he was attractive to me. Like, he was just attractive. And for anyone that doesn't already know, okay, so the chick that he was with, he was saying how she really liked women. And so after I went over and was introduced to her and was started to talk to her too, because I met him first, and then he introduced me to the chick that he was with, that he was there with. And once I started talking to her, I started asking her about how she likes women. And I was like, so how many women have you been with? Or I was just asking her about it. And she was saying how she considers herself to be like 90% into women and only like 10% into guys. And I was starting to, at first I was starting to be like, that's exactly how I think I am. Because it is. Like, usually that's how I feel. But I will say that the guy that she was with, he was, you know, he must have been pretty drunk or so. I think they were both pretty drunk, or he especially was pretty drunk, but he was like really feeling on me and like trying to lick the sides of my hips. And like, I don't know, I was giving him back rubs by the stage and he was like turning around and like trying to like, yeah, like lick my hips or whatever. And normally with 99.9% of any other like part of the male population, I would never allow that. Human saliva is one of my biggest like gross out things. Like I don't like saliva. Saliva almost grosses me out more than like urine or doo-doo. Like I just feel, I don't know, a lot of the worst smells that I've smelled here from people are saliva related. It's not even like like a number one or a number two thing. It's like a saliva thing, and I just don't like it. So normally with him trying to like lick the sides of my hips like he was, I was kind of trying to like not fully allow it, but I wasn't anywhere near what I would normally be like with most guys. Like with most guys, I would have run the other direction like immediately and never allowed that to happen at all. But with him, I was kind of like borderline almost allowing it to happen because, I did forget about this, but thankfully I just reminded myself inadvertently. Here it is. So put that away. With him, I was almost kind of allowing it. I mean, I was kind of trying to like push him off a little bit and not fully allow it, but again, he was pretty attractive and I was giving him back rubs so I could like feel how in shape he was, and I was like, this isn't so bad. And I had started to think with the female when she was saying how she's like 90% attracted to women and 10% guys. Normally that's how I feel, but what I was starting to think as this interaction was like going on, what I didn't end up saying this to her because I didn't want to like possibly upset her, but I was starting to think, well, normally I feel that way too, but with this guy I might be changing the percentages a little bit. Like maybe I'm more than 10% attracted to guys, possibly. I don't know, but I wasn't mad about it, you know what I mean? Normally I would be, and I wasn't. So I was starting to have some feelings, some thoughts and feelings happening. And I was like, so I don't know, I asked them, they said that they had never, well, I guess they had known each other since high school. They said they had known each other for 16 years, but apparently them getting together, they were only together for like a month at that point, so their relationship was still pretty new. And because I asked them, I was like, oh, have you ever had a threesome? Because she seemed to really like women, and you know, that's what she seemed like and what she was saying. So I was like, oh, so have you ever had a threesome, you guys? And she said no. So I was like, how have you guys never had a threesome if you like women so much? And that's when she told me that they had only been together for 1 month. Because at first, earlier, she had told me that they knew each other for 16 years. So I kind of just assumed that they had been together for a while. But then after I had asked her that question about the threesome and she said no, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And she was like, well, we've only actually been together for 1 month. We've just known each other for 16 years, like since high school. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense now. But you know, they got my number and I don't know. Well, we'll see how it goes. I just never really, I don't know. It's probably a scam. I feel like everything's a scam. They're just trying to like two-time me and like team up and like take advantage of me, probably. Like that's always the way that my mind works, unfortunately. You know, they're like a Bonnie and a Clyde and they're gonna like just take me for all I'm worth, but not in a good way. You know, like if I were to try to hang out with them outside the club. Because you know, I definitely would, I try to be open-minded. I try to like at least consider things, think about things. But then when I do, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I can't actually do anything because, I don't know, everything's just too much of a risk. You know, it feels like, and it seems like to me. And I already take too much of a risk every single day, you know, just everything that I do or try to do, not that I do a whole lot, but just me doing anything. You know, and especially me doing what I do just as a dancer and the way that I dance here at the club, me going on stage, me going on the pole, you know, all the extra times that I go on stage and me going on the pole, I don't have to go on the pole. Nobody's telling me to do it. A lot of dancers that work here at this club that I work at don't go on the pole. So it's not a requirement whatsoever. I do it for personal reasons, for personal satisfaction mostly, you know, just to prove to myself what I'm capable of, and because it's a great workout, and because I love to do it, and I get an adrenaline rush, and I feel alive, and that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't have to be going on the pole, but I do. I push myself to do it. And I also push myself to go on stage more than I actually need to, you know, when a lot of times when it's not even my turn, I just go up there because I love being up there. So I do already take so many risks, you know. I mean, being a stripper in and of itself, even existing at all in the world in and of itself, is a huge, scary, risky thing. But yeah, being a stripper is well known to be a risky, scary thing. And then additionally, for me to be a dancer the way that I'm a dancer, going on stage as much as I do, and going on the pole as much as I do, and doing pole tricks as much as I try to do them, it's all already so much of a risk, you know, with all of that for me. And I just feel like, you know, largely because of that, it wouldn't be wise for me to be going out and doing all kinds of crazy stuff that I really don't need to be doing, you know. I'm at that age, I guess, where I feel like I gotta just try to stay focused and doing what I do need to do, you know, to just keep my stuff in order as best I can, just, you know, adult as best I can, you know. But as far as like things like fun and enjoyment and recreation, it's great to think about, I guess, but in theory, but to actually put any of that into practice and to actually dare to try to do any of it, like dabble in any of that kind of extra fun stuff, it's like, realistically, I don't think it would be the wise thing for me to be putting my time and attention and energy towards. Unfortunately, you know, I wish that if I were younger, of course, if I were younger, and when I was younger, yeah, of course, I'd, you know, made more time for stuff like that. But I think it's just, again, part of human nature. As you get older, realistically, you just kind of have to be more responsible, or, you know, you don't have to, but you probably should if you can, you know, if you can manage to do so. So anyway, I don't know, but they were fun, you know. It was nice while it lasted here at the club, and maybe they'll come back here to the club again. Who knows? I don't know, but I don't know, if I change my mind, I do have their number, so that's nice too, I guess. But anyway, it's pretty cold in here. My car has been off for this video, so, you know, it's cold. And it is almost 6 o'clock. It's 5:44 to be exact. That's what it says on my phone. It is about to be 5:45, and I started this video at 4:30, which means just trying to compute that in my head here. An hour and 15 minutes. The timestamp is about to say 69. Nice. But 70 minutes would be an hour and 10 minutes. Well, close enough, I guess. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna log off now. I guess that's gonna conclude this video. This was my third video today, I guess. Kind of. It was supposed to be my second, but it ended up being my third. So anyway, hopefully I'll be able, I think we're supposed to have another nice sunny day tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be sunny out tomorrow for Thursday. So I'm gonna try my best to get my ass out the door and get out and about and do some stuff, and hopefully come back on here and do another video with you guys. But if for whatever reason I'm not able to do so, I will definitely still try to come back on later this week, maybe Friday or Saturday instead. But tomorrow would be even better, I think, especially since tomorrow is supposed to be, I think, the sunny day this week. I don't know, I forget the weather for Friday and Saturday, but I don't think the weather on Friday and Saturday is supposed to be very good. I'm pretty sure it's like a snowy, rainy kind of situation that we're supposed to be having those days. Great. No, not great, obviously. But yes, I do remember, I clearly remember looking at the weather report that tomorrow is supposed to be sunny. So I really would like to try to come out tomorrow, and I'm going to try my best to do so. But either way, I'm going to be trying to come back on sooner rather than later, as I like to say. And until then, I hope you guys are well, and peace out for now.